For the first time, the city of El Cajon is getting carved up into districts. How you can help coming up.
Fear destroys. Fear breaks apart community.
Local religious leaders call on the city today to denounce hateful rhetoric and embrace unity in the new year. And Santa stops by in Logan Heights. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amitha Sharma. Victims and suspects of violent crime in San Diego County have a lot in common. That's the conclusion of a study by the San Diego planning agency SANDAG. The study looked at the people who reported violent crimes and those arrested for them in 2015. Cynthia Burke is SANDAG's Director of Criminal Justice Research. She says the study looked at age, gender, and ethnicity, and several groups were disproportionately represented in the statistics, including African Americans.
They were much more likely to be violent crime victims and violent crime suspects. Males are much more likely to be violent crime victims as well as suspects. And for age, you're most likely to be a violent crime victim if you're between the ages of 18 and 39, and that's also for the suspects.
The study examined rape, homicide, robbery, and aggravated assault. The study did not examine all crime factors such as socioeconomic distinctions. Anyone interested in the future of El Cajon can soon try their hand at mapping out districts for their city council members. In the new year, the city will begin creating council districts for the first time. KPBS reporter Claire Tregeser has more.
Until now, El Cajon council members were elected citywide, which often means minorities aren't represented. The current council is all men and all white, except one Iraqi immigrant who says he's not there to just represent the Iraqi community. The city is now set to publish a mapping tool online that anyone can use to create proposals. It will also hold public meetings to explain how maps should be drawn. The council will decide on a schedule for these meetings at the end of January. If you want to give mapping a try, the city says the new districts must be compact, contiguous, and reflect, quote, communities of interest. Those include people who go to the same schools, share neighborhood activities, or speak the same language. The districts must be in place before the next election in 2018. Claire Tregeser, KPBS News.
A group of San Diego religious leaders called for tolerance today in front of City Hall. Speakers of different religious faiths expressed concern over the recent presidential campaign. The very Reverend Penny Bridges says there were hate-filled speeches, and that has made some nervous.
Because San Diego is a city on the frontera, is a border city, we have particular concerns about immigrants and about refugees and about them being treated with appropriate care and love and compassion.
96 religious leaders signed and sent a letter to the mayor and the council saying they are troubled by, quote, threats of mass deportations, derogatory references to women, false generalizations regarding Muslims, and disparaging remarks about persons of Mexican descent. 2 people in San Diego County have died recently from complications related to the flu. The county health agency says both victims were in their 80s and had other medical issues. In total, 3 people have died from the flu this season, the same number as last year at this time. Health officials recommend flu shots for everyone older than 6 months. The highly infectious disease known as the mumps is making a comeback. There have been 19 cases of the mumps so far this year in San Diego. That's more cases than in the last 5 years combined. Federal health officials say mumps activity nationwide is at a 10-year high. The virus is preventable through a series of vaccines, usually given in early childhood. This year, a number of San Diego companies faced criticism from scientists who say patients are being charged high prices for unproven stem cell treatments. With the new administration set to take office, KPBS science reporter David Wagner says it's uncertain whether regulators will take new action to rein in such companies.
The FDA has proposed new regulations, and officials recently published an article discussing the dangers of unproven stem cell treatments. But UC Davis stem cell scientist Paul Knopfler says if the agency is serious about stepping up regulation, it may want to act now.
It just seems like overall Trump is probably going to be less supportive of the FDA taking some kind of major action on stem cell clinics.
One San Diego stem cell company is currently facing a lawsuit from patients who allege the company sold them ineffective and falsely advertised treatments. David Wagner, KPBS News.
Uber's self-driving cars have been pulled off California roads and are now headed to Arizona. This after state regulators revoked vehicle registrations a day after the company launched the service in San Francisco. State officials say the cars needed the same special permit as the other companies testing self-drive technology. Uber argued the cars did not need that permit because they do not drive themselves entirely. Uber has been operating these vehicles in Pittsburgh since September. AAA estimates a record-breaking holiday travel season in Southern California. Nearly 8 million residents are expected to travel. Statewide projections estimate 12 million travelers, a slight increase from 2015. Experts credit lower gas prices, cheaper airfare, and an improved economy. Nearly 11 million travelers will hit the road, almost 2% more than last year. More Californians are also expected to fly to their destination. The data marks the 8th consecutive year of growth for end-of-the-year holiday travel. A San Diego nun who has dedicated her life to helping the homeless is retiring this month. Sister RayMonda DuVall has served as executive director of San Diego Catholic Charities for the past 26 years. But she has worked for more than 3 decades to help hundreds of women, men and children get off the streets and turn their lives around. DuVall was led to create Rachel's Women's Center in downtown in 1981 when she saw a need for a safe place for women to sleep, shower, and receive counseling. She says it's heartbreaking and disappointing.
I can't imagine that I would ever completely walk away from homeless women, because that's what got me here. That was and still is my passion.
DuVall plans to travel, play golf, and then continue her work to serve those in need. It's finally out. San Diego Zoo Safari Park officials say the bullet that was stuck inside one of the park's white rhinos for more than a year has been removed. Wallace arrived to San Diego from Africa late last year with a skin wound likely caused by a failed poaching attempt. Park staff tried to heal the wound with no success until the bullet was removed on Saturday.
Within the 4 days of the bullet coming out, the wound has healed rapidly up behind it now and went from about 10 centimeters down to about maybe 1 to 2 centimeters now. So I expect within a week that this will be healed.
Wallace is one of 6 female rhinos that were relocated to the safari park from Africa. These rhinos are an endangered species. Experts say without intervention, rhinos could go extinct in the wild in as little as 15 years. The rain soaked San Diego's streets and businesses today while residents try to stay dry. It looks like more rain and possible thunderstorms are heading our way. Shanae Shocker tells us what to expect this holiday weekend.
Well, we certainly have been seeing weather that we don't normally see, but this is extremely nice, especially for the drought around the San Diego area, picking up just less than an inch of rain so far. So we are going to continue to see some of those showers throughout tonight, but they're going to begin to really taper off. Now, we look at the radar and you continue to see a lot of those showers, but what I want to point out is actually our next system out here. You could see the front coming in. There's a big trough in the jet stream, and that's going to be our bigger winter storm heading towards the weekend. That's going to be bringing us some rain and even some snow out towards the pass level. So very active on our satellite and radar for today. As well, from the coast in towards the deserts, really going to be continuing to see some of those showers. Tonight, as we head in towards the latter half of the hours, we are going to see partly cloudy conditions. Now, we can't rule out a chance of a sprinkle in towards the metro area, but it's most likely going to begin to dry out. Now, if you're out towards the deserts, slight chances of a couple of showers, but we are going to begin to dry out as well, just as the coast is. For tonight, our low out towards Ramona, 49 degrees, Mount Lagoon Laguna, we are in the 30s. Borrego Springs, 46 degrees for this evening. Now heading towards our Friday, this is the area of low pressure in that front I was talking about. The big winter storm on its way. It's beginning to approach the Southern California coast and even Los Angeles. If you're headed out there to wrap up your work week, we'll be seeing maybe a couple of showers in store. But behind this, much cooler air, and that's what's going to be bringing some of that snowfall out towards the passes. But for the coast, we're not going to be looking at any snowfall, but we are going to begin to see some rainfall in towards the latter half of the evening. That front's going to sink in, and that means throughout overnight we could have some heavier downpours, possibility of some thunderstorms as well, and we'll have some increasing cloud cover starting on Friday. Now, as Saturday wears on, we're looking at drier conditions heading towards our Christmas. We have plenty of sunshine in store along the coast, 58 degrees for our high on Sunday. Inland, very much the same type of story. We're beginning to increase the clouds for our Friday. Overnight, chances of some heavier rainfall, especially towards the morning hours, and then that rain's going to taper off and we'll stay pretty cloudy on our Saturday. But Christmas looking very nice, mostly sunny and cool, 58 degrees for our high on Sunday. Into the mountains, this is where we're going to see some of that ice and even some snow, especially later on towards the evening hours, making travel on Saturday not really the best day. Try and head out early as we head towards colder weather, but Sunday in towards the mountains, we will be staying mostly sunny as well. Last but not least, the desert's getting really the best luck with the storm system as far as the weather is concerned. A couple of morning showers in for our Saturday, overnight Friday, then we'll begin to dry out, and Christmas looking to be very nice, 57 degrees for our high and our low at 35. For KPBS News, I'm Shanae Shocker.
California has the highest number of businesses owned by veterans, over 250,000. With San Diego's access to military contracts and its ready supply of personnel leaving the military, the county is seen as a growing hub for veteran entrepreneurs. KPBS's Steve Walsh has this story.
These are Dells and Marks.
Sumner Lee was a Navy helicopter pilot who later worked for the Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command in San Diego.
We cover it with whiteboards all over.
After he got out of the military, he spent a year as a designer at a large firm in LA before he realized what he really wanted to do was create his own job.
I realized that I get a lot more satisfaction in life from being able to develop solutions that go into the hands of the guys who are out on the front lines and putting their life on the line to keep each other safe and to help America overall.
Lee opened Fuse Integrated in 2010.
So all the patches that we have on our front desk come from friends or from our employees who have been in the military and deployed.
It looks like any other tech startup in the Makers Quarter of downtown San Diego. The mural they've dubbed Cat Bunny dwarfs the pictures of military planes.
You definitely don't see any of this around Spaywar or 32nd Street. So I've tried to create an environment that is much more focused on creativity. So this is our ocular software tool.
Fuse is working on software that will allow commanders to sort through all of the data coming in from satellites, drones, and personnel in the field.
It's made to be used while you're on the go.
It's hard to quantify, but San Diego is seen nationally as a growing hub for veteran entrepreneurs. There are a few reasons why. San Diego has a lot of vets, roughly 300,000 in the county, and research from the Small Business Administration shows veterans are 45% more likely to run their own business than non-veterans. He says veterans are natural entrepreneurs.
They have an understanding of how to deal with adversity, how to deal with problems as they come up, and how to drive towards mission accomplishment even through the middle of adversity in front of them.
They also have to learn how to motivate their employees without expecting them to salute. Since San Diego is home for the Navy and Marines, vets also have access to military contracts if they know how to get them.
Hey, Richard, this is Carlos Figari. How are you doing today?
For years, the Department of Defense has set aside a certain portion of its contracts for businesses run by veterans.
What's been going on with your business right now?
Carlos Figari works with veteran entrepreneurs with the Small Business Administration, which opened up an office in Carlsbad last year.
Right now, we're working on developing the prototype for this project right here.
He says the federal government is doing more to enforce those quotas for veterans.
Right now, it's an emphasis of actually helping the veterans. So now it's more, people are really watching for those numbers to make sure that they're coming in.
All right, good morning.
There's a number of groups guiding veterans through the startup process.
This is actually one of our training rooms here that we have.
Since 2013, the Small Business Administration has offered the 2-day Boots to Business course, open to all personnel before they separate from the military.
So they get to attend 2 days and be exposed to the steps and the things that they're going to have to be aware when they start a business.
There's an optional 8-week follow-up course. Camp Pendleton and Naval Base San Diego have requested the course more often than any other base in the country outside of Washington, D.C., meaning San Diego probably has many more veteran entrepreneurs about to hit the local marketplace. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
As we wrap up 2016, we're looking back at some of our best stories of the year. This time we go back to a special holiday dinner that brought together two different cultures. KPBS City Heights reporter Taryn Mento has the story.
When you enter the City Heights home of Mahira Assad, you're greeted with Turkish coffee, and you're invited to sit, sip, and snack on sweets while her husband, Yahia, shares stories and their children listen. The family of 5 is from Syria. They were resettled in San Diego after escaping their country's civil war. The exchange of food is a sign of friendship and respect in his country's culture, Yahia explained through a translator. But it's been a long time since he's been able to engage in the custom. Friend Lina Abi Samra says when the family first fled Syria and landed in the neighboring country, Jordan, they felt like strangers. Yahia worked to afford a place and avoid the harsh conditions of a refugee camp, but didn't connect with the community.
He had told us before that he'd been in Jordan for 2.5 years. Nobody invited them to their home, you know.
But here in San Diego, thousands of miles away from the Middle East, Yahia tells Abi Samra he feels welcome.
I feel that I am a human being now. Before I felt like I wasn't, there was no dignity. I didn't feel like a human being. I felt like nothing. And now here I feel like I have some value as a human being.
Hi, I'm Mike.
Part of that is because of people like Mike Lands. He's the CEO of Hire a Helper, a company that finds someone to help you move. It bussed the family of 5 and other Syrian refugees to his Oceanside offices for a Thanksgiving potluck.
Just hang out with them and eat with them and play with their kids. Then, we can do our little part to, helping bring them into our culture and welcome them.
Another group, Hearts for Refugees, a local branch of the Syrian Community Network, raised money to buy Syrian families Thanksgiving meals. The organization arranged for San Diegans to bring the meals directly to the refugees' homes, giving them a chance to meet.
Food is sort of like the ultimate icebreaker.
David Lubell of the nonprofit Welcoming America says actions like these are key to helping newcomers feel comfortable. His organization encourages communities to become more inclusive and has a partnership with the White House.
It breaks the tension that might exist when people don't know each other or understand each other, because everybody understands food.
Glenn says breaking that tension is particularly important right now. San Diego has welcomed hundreds of Syrian refugees out of the 10,000 allowed in the country this year. But President-elect Donald Trump and other Republicans have called for a ban.
There's just a lot of fear in the country right now on what's going to happen with them if the borders are going to get shut. And we felt like, in general, if we could just help open people's eyes to, these are real people who have been through, tremendously traumatic experience.
The Assad family says it is grateful for the chance after what it endured in Syria. Abi Samra says Yahia's home was shelled and possibly gassed before he was detained for about a year.
After a year, I was released. My daughter, when I saw my daughter, she ran away from me. She did not recognize me. I was so unrecognizable with all the torture and the beatings I had received.
Now safely in San Diego, the children are enrolled in school. Yahia's searching for a job, although it's tough without a car. And friends are encouraging Mahira to put her culinary skills to work.
This is how we do it.
At Hire a Helper's potluck, the family circle of friends continues to grow. Through translators, they talk, laugh, dine, and engage in their host traditions. Just before the meal, a pastor recited a Christian prayer. Yahia, a Muslim, rose to his feet and bowed his head. Taryn Mento, KPBS News.
More than 12,000 American military personnel have died since the Iraq War ended in 2003. A nonprofit called Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, or TAPS, works with the families left behind. It holds camps for kids who have lost parents in the military. KPBS reporter Claire Tregesser visited one of them in Julian this summer and brings us this story.
I really think you can.
I think I can.
I think you can.
I think I can.
I think you can. I know you can.
I can.
I know you can.
Elliot Kim is 8 years old and is at sleepaway camp for the first time. He's with his parents' friend Ty Baryan and is looking forward to trying a climbing wall.
I've climbed one that's way taller than that. It's
Yeah.
like twice the size.
Yeah? You gonna look higher? Yeah, that one looks pretty good though. Can you make it stop? Like drop it halfway and stop
Later,
it?
they play a game with Elliot's name tag. Baryan drops it and Elliot tries to catch it.
You ready? Concentrating. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, one hand. Do one hand, one hand, one hand, one hand.
On that name tag is a picture of Elliot's father, Scott Kim. He was in the Coast Guard and drowned 2 years ago. Baryan says Elliot wanted to be just like his dad.
I don't want to fill the void of Scott because that's not my job. I could never do what Scott had done for his family, but at least help create those memories for Elliot when he grows up.
And that's one of the goals of Good Grief campouts. They're part learning coping skills and part just having fun.
To ensure that the kids understand that what happened in their life with regard to their parent or loved one is an event in their life, but it is not a defining moment in their life, and that it is something that they can be aware about, but they don't have to dwell on it. They don't have to let it be the only thing that people address them with.
It makes me feel like I'm part of the community more, because not many people in my school have lost their dads or moms.
Elliot and all the campers get a mentor who's also in the military. For Elliot, that's Baryan, an active duty Marine.
We're really close friends and we all love each other.
Yes, we do.
That's why he gives me piggyback rides.
That afternoon, 12-year-old Athena Gonzalez hit the climbing wall. She was a bit nervous, but tackled it with coaching from her mentor. She's been to several Good Grief campouts after her father died while fighting in Afghanistan 5 years ago. She says they connect kids who understand each other.
I feel like it helps them remember the life and the love they had with that person and celebrate it more than just being more depressed over it.
Don't put anything else on it?
They do crafts to remember their parents or have group discussions. Some questions are easier, such as what was her father's favorite color? Others are harder.
The hardest question, I feel like it's still a hard question to this day, is how I learned. He died, so that's hard for me to say, but in the end it feels good to be able to tell other people.
About 40 kids were at the 3-day TAPS camp. They hiked, made crafts, and swam in the pool. Ashlyn Haycock was a camper for 8 years and now works for TAPS. When she was growing up, she didn't know anyone who'd lost a parent.
Everything that TAPS did really normalized what I was going through. It made me feel like it was okay that I missed my father still, that even 5-6 years out, that I still cried and that I still dreaded the anniversary of his death and his birthdays were still hard. And to know that other kids were going through that too made it so much easier.
And those camp friends then supported her during the year. Haycock says she loves seeing new campers start having fun.
It's okay for them to not want to cry. It's okay for them to have fun. It's okay for them to enjoy this time together. It doesn't have to all be tears and circle time and depressing, which is what so many people think grief camp is.
In the pool, Elliot and Baryan invented another game, using pool noodles like baseball bats to hit tennis balls. They splashed and laughed and got other kids to play too. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour, making sense of Washington, D.C.'s new paid family leave plan, one of the most generous in the country. That's Thursday on the PBS News Hour.
Santa Santa made an early stop-off in Logan Heights today. On behalf of the California Highway Patrol's Chips for Kids program, kids from underprivileged families got free toys and bikes that were collected during a month-long toy drive. The program has been around for 28 years. Here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom on Morning Edition. Looking to catch up this holiday on movies you may have missed, Beth Accomando has her list of this year's best. And on Midday Edition, an important part of the holiday season is eating. We talk with two foodies who tell us where to find good festive eats this holiday weekend. That's tomorrow at noon on KPBS Radio. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us and have a great evening.